From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, hon.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Well, good morning, everyone. The storm is knocking on our door this morning, and we are going to start to feel the impacts today. This is going to be an ongoing event where it's going to be off and on. I mean, at some points in time, you're going to really feel the impacts of the storm with wind. At times, sometimes heavy rain. Some of you will be dealing with heavy snow. There's a lot of elements to really look at when we're talking about this storm system. So let's get you right into it. So as I mentioned, it arrives today. We've got heavy rain, we've got snow, gusty winds, and one thing I should really mention in here as well is the thunderstorms that we can be looking at in the forecast as early as today for parts of the coast, and then of course the rest of us possibly for tomorrow and Saturday. Travel delays Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then rain, snow, along with the cooler temperatures will continue into next week. This is a cool pattern that isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Now, by the way, as the storm system comes through over the next few days, I want you to share with me your storm photos, whether it's snow, whether it's heavy rainfall, whether it's thunderstorms, whether it's the gusty winds or wind damage. All kinds of things that you can share. Just let me know what your location is, and especially if we're dealing with snow, what your elevation is as well. Of course, you can do that from the free Weather NorCal app from your iPhone or your Android device. Just search for Weather NorCal in your app store. Download the app for free, and that's where you can share your photos. Great way to share those photos, and it's really easy for me to get access to those photos so we can share them on social media and, of course, right here on these weathercasts, and not to mention on Coffee with Kruger weekday mornings. Let's take a look at what we have here with your planner for today. Yeah, we've got more clouds, we've got cooler temperatures, and of course we've got rain and wind in the forecast as well. Snow levels today will start off fairly high comparatively to what we're going to see here as we go into tomorrow and into the weekend. But there you can see even the chance for thunderstorms for parts of the north coast. Inland though, overcast, those showers. And Trinity County, also looking at those cooler temperatures. All right, so here is what I'm watching for today through Saturday. I think the heaviest snow is going to be about 3,000 feet and higher. But we are going to see snow levels drop to as low as 1,000 feet and locally lower. But when you go to about 1,000 to 3,000 feet, or even just below 3,000 feet, I don't think we're going to see as much snow. But when we're talking snow levels this low, then you're talking high impacts, right? Because now we're talking about the potential for travel delays with possible closures Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And really, when I say Thursday, it's really mainly going to be Friday and Saturday that I think we'll see the best chance for those road closures, because that's when we see the heaviest snow and lowest elevation snow as well. And on top of that, we've got the gusty winds in the forecast, blowing snow, and possible power outages. All right, so here's the storm timeline. I've actually changed it a little bit here. So we've got a high impact storm today, and it's mainly going to be in the form of wind. The wind is really going to pick up this morning for the coast, and then even eventually making its way into the valley and eastern mountains. This is when we could see gusts easily upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour, and in some areas, especially these exposed ridges, up to 60 miles per hour. Snow levels, as I mentioned, starting off higher. So here's what I would say for today as being a travel day. Travel with caution. Rain will be heavy at times. Winds will be very strong. That's not very easy to drive in as well. But when you're talking about heavy rain, especially in some of those mountain highways, mudslides and debris flows can be a concern. But overall, with these higher snow levels, we won't see as many chain requirements, so it won't be as bad. So I would say, again, travel with caution today. But tomorrow, travel is not recommended, because now we're looking at snow levels as low as 2,000 feet eventually. This is when we start to see more chain requirements, even on I-5 north of Reading. I think conditions will be even worse Friday night into Saturday. That's why travel is not recommended on Saturday either, with snow levels between 1 and 2,000 feet, or 1,000 and 2,000 feet, right? So again, travel not recommended because of the lower snow levels. Now, keep in mind, it's also going to be pretty gusty winds here on Friday as well. As we go into Sunday, I'm going to call it a minor impact because at this point, yes, we're still seeing some snow out there, and you'll probably have to, I should even say here, travel with caution on Sunday because there'll probably be leftover chain requirements. But things won't be as bad as we start going into your Sunday, and not to mention going into your Monday as well. Let's take a look at the forecast road conditions just through tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. So here you can see today at noon. So what we're seeing here is mainly rain on Highway 299, but you see how we're beginning to see a bit more snow as you head especially down into the northern Sierra and southern Cascades. Here's I-5 at noon. You see how I think it'll be mainly in the form of rain. So I don't anticipate any chain requirements through the day today. In fact, conditions may improve as we go into this afternoon and evening. But by tonight and into tomorrow morning, look at this. We're beginning to see snow making its way into I-5. We're also looking at Highway 299. We're getting a lot of this wintry mix, right? So what that means is we're beginning to see more of that transition over to snow by the time we get into early tomorrow morning. And we'll probably be starting to look at chain requirements even on Highway 299 west of I-5, say around Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain, Berry Summit, all these areas here, right? Still looking at that potential. And not to mention on I-5, and of course east of I-5 is where we continue to see issues as well. So look at the storm impacts, just kind of a graphical outlook here for today. You can see how it's kind of in that gray. That's the limited. The limited is basically just going to be in the form of rain and gusty winds. Limited on Highway 299 because of, again, the heavy rainfall and gusty winds. But you can see here, we start seeing bigger impacts as you start heading east of I-5, especially over those higher mountain passes. Cedar Pass, for example, moderate, right? And not to mention out towards the Highway 299, up towards the higher elevations. We're getting more in the reds and purples here as we go into those higher elevations, okay? Tomorrow, look how it really starts to light up now with a lot more red on the map and orange. Highway 299, Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain, Berry Summit. We take you out to I-5. There you can see we are borderline getting within to the major category. So once again, we're seeing these lower snow levels tomorrow, and that's going to create even more problems. Look at this. It doesn't get much better for Saturday. You can still see a lot of red and orange on the map here for 299, and not to mention I-5. So this is something you really need to pay attention to today, tomorrow, Saturday, and even Sunday. Even though Sunday things are starting to kind of wrap themselves up, there still are going to be plenty of chain requirements out there, especially east of I-5. But take a look at this. This storm system is really beginning to show signs of colder air. So you can see the trough of low pressure right here, speckled clouds. This is all, I mean, you can clearly, see the speckled clouds? That's all that colder air that's approaching Northern California. So this low pressure system, the colder air, it's all migrating to the south and east. Look at the flow too. This right here is the jet stream. That jet stream is right here over us. That is that perfect flow of us getting these disturbances rotating around the area of low pressure, squeezing out that moisture, and we see this consistent flow of rain and snow, especially the snow, over the higher elevations. By Saturday, that colder air is right on top of us. This is when I expect some of the lowest snow levels, around Friday night into Saturday morning. Then that all pushes eastward. By Sunday, the coldest air is now to our north and east, but still cold air and still low snow levels. Okay, but look at this. Once this all moves out, now we're seeing more cold systems coming in from the Gulf of Alaska, keeping our temperatures below normal and keeping us with a chance for showers and low snow levels. So March 6th through March 10th, still seeing those below normal temperatures. So it's not going to warm up a whole lot and it's going to stay cool out there. Slight chance for thunderstorms for parts of northern Humboldt and Del Norte counties, but I think overall better chances going into tomorrow, including the valley westward. And that even extends on into your Saturday as well. So thunderstorms are something we have to kind of put in the mix here as well. And with those thunderstorms, you're talking about, especially the colder air, the potential for accumulating hail, which can be just as dangerous to drive in as snow. All right, now let's take a look at Futurecast, walk you through the timing of it all. So snow levels starting off probably around 4,000 feet and maybe even higher. Here's the cold front moving through this morning. Heavy rainfall and very strong winds. This is when we expect the strongest winds for the coast is this morning. Then we go into about 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Now the cold front is moving through the valley. This is where we see a round of heavy rainfall and very strong winds. So the strongest winds are around mid-morning for the valley. Then we see the stronger winds making its way into the eastern mountains by the time we get to around the noon hour. So the main cold front now off to the east of the valley by noon. Snow levels starting to drop at this point. But look at I-5. We're not really seeing a ton of snow at this point. So behind this main push of this cold front coming through, we're not expected to see a ton of rain and snow coming in behind it. But then we start to see more of this flow kind of push through. And this is what I'm talking about. So snow levels now, by the time we get to this evening, are around 2,000 to 3,000 feet. So we may start to see some snow, but not a ton of snow as you can see here on I-5. We may start to see some snow on Highway 299 west of I-5. So we're talking about around Buckhorn Summit, Oregon Mountain, Berry Summit, right? We're seeing that potential of seeing that snow on Highway 299. So we're starting to see these lower snow levels. So that means Hayfork, Weaverville, you could start to see some snow by late today, but probably more in the form of a mix. Now we go into tomorrow morning. Now we're starting to see some of just the heavier bands, because what's happening is, remember I was talking about that flow coming in from the southwest to the northeast? This is that perfect setup for us just to see that constant flow of moisture. So we see these just kind of squeezing out moisture. So we see scattered, widespread scattered really, snow flurries in the higher elevations. And not to mention we're starting to see some of that heavier rainfall along the coast as well. Here's noon on Friday. Again, you just see we're still seeing a lot of that snow in the higher elevations. Snow levels 2,000 to 2,500 feet on Friday. So this is when we start to see some impacts. As we go into Friday afternoon and Friday evening, another push, another band of heavy rainfall begins to push through, which equates to high, to the low elevation snow and heavy snow on top of that. So I think even the worst conditions could be Friday night and into Saturday morning. You can still see as we go into Saturday 5 a.m., look at all of this snow that's still coming down on those mountain highways. So chain requirements, know what's happening. This is why travel is not recommended, especially for Friday and Saturday. Here's Saturday around 11 a.m. We're still seeing a lot of that snow out there, and that'll continue through the afternoon. All right, so again, we need to use extreme caution. If you don't need to be on those mountain highways, it's not recommended. Now, I want to show you the forecast rainfall totals through Friday 11 a.m. This is that time frame we were just showing you with Futurecast. I don't like these numbers. These numbers are terrible. This is not what I'm expecting to see. 0.06 of an inch of rainfall. Did you see that huge band of heavy rainfall push through? Now, with that said, Futurecast is showing that, yes, we see a band of heavy rain come through, so a period of heavy rain, and then it kind of breaks up into scattered showers. So it's not like it's going to be raining nonstop for the valley for today, Friday, and even Saturday. And that's why I'm getting a little confused here. This should be going through Saturday, 11 a.m. I apologize for that. So we'll of course, bottom line here, this is also, now you can see this total here. This is looking at a different forecast model. This is through Saturday at 11 a.m. So forget those numbers that you saw there. That's only going through Friday, but even then, I think those numbers are fairly inaccurate. This, I think, is a pretty good representation. I think through Saturday, 11 a.m., about a half an inch to a little over an inch is what I'm expecting for the valley. We take you out to the coast here, and I think we're going to see over 2 inches of rainfall. Now, we're not seeing much here for the mountains, but that's because it's mainly going to be in the form of snow. So we still have the winter storm warning basically through Sunday, blizzard warning because of the blowing snow basically through Sunday as well. So, I mean, snow everywhere, right? In the higher elevations. Not much snow for the coast and not much snow in the valley. But here you can see these totals through 11 a.m. on Saturday. I think it might be overdoing it in some areas. I think we could probably approach that foot mark of snow. I don't think we're going to quite see 2 feet of snow in Hayfork, but I think Weaverville and Hayfork, if you see over a foot of snow, it's certainly not out of the question, but I'd say somewhere around that 12-inch range. I think it's underdoing it for Mount Shasta. I think you could possibly see over a foot of snow even in Mount Shasta City. This might be overdoing it. I don't think we'll quite reach that 12-inch mark, but maybe maybe upwards of 6 to 8 inches out towards Alturas. There you can see Bernie. I think you can see over a foot of snow. I think over a foot of snow for Chester as well. This is just through Saturday morning. Keep in mind, we've got Saturday afternoon to get through, and not to mention Sunday as well, so a lot more. So a lot of these numbers are not including what we're going to see as we go into Saturday afternoon, and not to mention Sunday. Winds, they're very gusty. A lot of colors on here, a lot of confusion. Bottom line is this. Let's take a look at the timing of those winds, okay? So here we are, 6 a.m. on Thursday. Here's the cold front. Winds are pretty gusty, very gusty at this point. Here's the cold front now over the valley around 9 a.m. So now we're seeing the strongest winds there. And then as we go into the afternoon, now the strongest winds are off in the eastern mountains. Behind the cold front, the winds subside, but they're still very gusty throughout the day today. Let's take a look at Friday. I'm going to take you around noon. Still looking at those gusty winds, 20, 30, and even at times 40 miles per hour on Friday. And then by Saturday, still breezy, borderline windy, but not as strong. All right, let's take a look at the long-range forecast model starting Saturday at noon. We took you for today all the way through Saturday morning. Now let's take a look at the long range. There it is at noon. And then we take you into Sunday. We're still seeing a lot more of that rain and snow out there, but this is going to be lighter snow and lighter rain for the valley as well. Then we go into Monday. So the thing is, the long-range forecast models are starting to kind of disagree, but I think for now, I've got it dry for Tuesday, and then maybe some more rain coming in Wednesday and possibly even Thursday of next week. So again, we've got a series of storms coming in from the north and west, keeping our temperatures cold, but also giving us a continued chance for some precipitation between March 6th and March 10th. So the long range still looking at the potential of above normal precipitation. This is great news. We can use the rain and not to mention that snowpack. It's going to be great to see what our snowpack looks like after this storm passes through over the weekend. Wave heights for today are certainly going to be much higher. And look at this as we go into Friday, they continue to climb. So there is, of course, going to be that gale warning out there for today, this morning in particular. It should get a little bit better as we go into the afternoon, but hazardous seas warning is what we're going to be talking about here probably as we go into your Friday. Southwest winds at 20 to 30 knots. So yeah, pretty strong winds, of course, in those high waves. All right, here is your neighborhood forecast for Trinity County. Those temperatures today are going to be in the mid to upper 40s for your daytime highs. We take you out to the north coast, 53 degrees in Fortuna, 51 for Shelter Cove and Garberville, and 49 for Alder Point. Take you up north, 53 for Smith River, 51 out in Gas Key. There's Klamath with a high of about 53. Hoopa about 51, and Willow Creek also topping out at 51 degrees. Here's your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Look for a high of 40 for Happy Camp, 39 degrees for Fort Jones. There you can see McDowell, a high of about 37, as well as Doris. And your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, 40 in Tule Lake, 40 in Canby, 45 degrees for Eagleville. And your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast with about 47 for Shingletown, 43 in Chester, and looks like Paradise about 49 degrees. Here's your Valley neighborhood forecast with those temperatures in the upper 50s, brought to you by Haas Farms, by the way. There, of course, you can see temperatures on the cool side, and of course, some wet weather and gusty winds out there as well. Look at those winds coming in from the south-southwest at 30 miles per hour. Let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding. Showers and thunderstorms by Friday and Saturday. We've got a bit of that mix possibly. I think the best chance for snowflakes in Redding will be Saturday night and into Sunday. This is when some of the coldest air will be in play, so we could see that at the very least a mix. As we get closer to Saturday night and Sunday, we'll be able to fine-tune that and see whether or not we see accumulating snow, but at this point, it doesn't look all that promising for Redding. Not to mention even the city of Shasta Lake. Monday and Tuesday, I'm drying things out, but should be looking at more showers by next Wednesday.